Broadcasting from the heart of the nation. The next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Take another 4 years. That's a wrap. I can take a bath in your tears. That's a fact. You got lipstick all on your beard. You're a man. That is cap. That is cap. 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 You pretending you're accepting. That's an act. You hear pat. 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 If you want our freedom, come and take it back. Bet you can. We won. You mad. It's done. Too bad. Boo-hoo. So sad. We won. You mad. You cry. We laugh.
Try to cancel me and say that I'm a racist. Got a mean hook, they can't keep me with that jam. Trying to take away my right to go and say this. Well, listen up, cause this gun is going bad. With the facts, 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 facts. Why they trying to turn Becky into Dan? You get pat, 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 pat. Screw Eminem, I'm Roseanne.
We won, you mad, it's done, too bad. Ooh, so sad. Shave your head and wear a shirt that says you're woke. If you can't handle a lot of facts and make up lies about it, say goodbye to Joe, your daddy's coming home. We won, you mad, it's done, too bad, boo-hoo, so sad, now your daddy's home. We won, you mad, you cry, we laugh, we wave the flag, now your daddy's home. We won, you mad.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
There it is, my friends. We are ready to go for a whole new administration. It is a whole new time. It is a new world, and who's excited to make that one happy? Welcome into the program. It is The Voice of Reason. I am Andy Hoosier. I'm telling you, man, it is, by the way, the song, you're like, what? Did I tune into the wrong radio here? No, you made it to the right one. Tom McDonald with his new song, Daddy's Home. Makes sense. I think Donald Trump is the new, there used to be, my nickname, for those that don't know, back in high school used to be Hoosier Daddy. Because the last name Hoosier makes sense. And I think that we've now upgraded to Donald Trump being apparently daddy's home in the White House. So welcome into it. And what a new world. You just feel, it feels better. It feels good outside. You walk outside here in Wichita, it's 16 degrees. You take a nice deep breath of air. You just enjoy it. And you realize that the burden has been lifted. We have been unburdened by what has been for so many years, and I'm excited for it. And I have been waiting to do this for a very long time. I know you have been waiting to do this for a very long time with me, so let's do it together here, shall we? President Joe Biden, we have to give the proper farewell out of the White House from earlier today. Bye, bye, bye. Oh, that felt good. Can we do it one more time? Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, previously Vice President of the United States, on her way out from the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris. Bye, bye, bye. I think I'm okay with that one. The inspiration is exciting. People are ready to go. We want to start seeing work get done. Like we said, the celebrations today, the work begins tomorrow. In fact, the work begins tonight with the 200 plus executive orders that Donald Trump is set to sign later on this evening. Who knows how long he's going to stay up, but he didn't sleep much anyways. But the inspiration is there and people are ready to see it happen.
I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We're going to win like never before.
So we've said this before on the program, but this is truly a historical moment, not just for the nation, but for humanity in general. This is one that will go down in the history books. And for us to be alive at this time, we always joke about if we could go back in time and live at a certain time. And I want to go really, really far back in many different time eras before like any technology was done whatsoever. But nonetheless, this is a historical time to be alive. And we're here for that reason to experience this. You know the old adage of the cycle of life, that good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times create hard men create good times. We've been in that weak men creating weak times, and we've been living in the weak times and the hard times for a really long time now. Even during the first Trump administration, it was okay, like, we're kind of getting better there, but it was still moving that wrong direction. He was trying to figure it out. The establishment was going after him. He didn't have, at least we didn't really have a majority of Congress that wanted to work with him, so he was really hamstrung from what he could actually do. But we have officially lived through 4 years that created such hard times that the good times are coming, because now there was a story that just ran at the end of last week that said masculinity is back. The masculine man, the alpha male, is rising again, which is Donald Trump and all of those cabinet picks that he has. J.D. Vance is the vice president of the United States, and that this entire movement was men that turned out for this election to vote for Donald Trump. And it's encouraging, because when the times are hard, what happens in America? This beautiful nation that we live in, where the streets are paved with gold, where we have the opportunity for everyone, where we have these freedoms that are ingrained in us from a higher power, that are protected or supposed to be protected by the government and from the government to protect us, to have these God-given natural rights that we're supposed to live by and enjoy here in this nation. That when we have that opportunity and the challenge calls upon us, and that we have this opportunity to make things better, we rise to that challenge. And we did that with this election. And now the men, the alpha male, even Mark Zuckerberg, as wild as he was a beta male for so long, has risen up and said that masculinity needs to come back into culture, needs to come back into the business sector, because that's where innovation is created. That's where innovation happens. And now the hard times that we've lived in have risen to a time to where the hard times are creating the hard men to rise, and women, not to be singular here. We're only sexist on this program. No, the hard people, the hard men and women that are willing to rise to that challenge and actually make the country better again. We are truly going to live in what Donald Trump is calling the golden age. And that's really encouraging to me. So we are living in that time where we're literally watching the transition from the hard times that lead to the hard men that are going to create the good times again. And we're seeing that before our eyes. Now, like we mentioned, the parties today, we can celebrate. We can give our, again, proper farewell to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris together. And we can start moving forward to actually see the work done. But there's a reason why we see the deep state starting to panic a little bit. There's a reason why they're finally starting to the realization's beginning to hit them, and they're going into self-preservation mode. There's a reason why they say that Kash Patel, the director or the nominee for the director of the FBI, doesn't have any experience, even though he's insanely qualified to run that position. There's a reason they hate Pete Hegseth, the ultimate masculine military man that wants to run the military. There's a reason they don't like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to come in and wipe out the protections of the big pharmaceutical industries and whatever else he wants to do to make America healthy again. There's a reason they don't like them, is because they have been bureaucrats that have zero experience in the outside world, that really have zero experience in the departments that they run, like Pete Buttigieg, that was a mayor of a small town of Illinois that got put into the head of Department of Transportation, and we saw how ill-informed they were, we saw how inexperienced they were, and we saw how badly that Washington, D.C. has been run. We saw how abused the powers in D.C. have been done, and we see how they weaponized it to try and retain that power, and how it backfired in their face. And that's what led to today, like the pardons that Joe Biden did announce first thing this morning to the January 6th committee, including Liz Cheney, including General Mark Milley, which really blew my mind. I don't even know why they did that, except for, of course, the phone call that he made to China saying, hey, if Donald Trump does something crazy, I'll let you know. Like, he's the head military guy. That's what we're doing. That's what we allowed to happen, including more of the Biden family, including Dr. Anthony Fauci. I made this comment on Armed American Radio. I was guest hosting that for Mark Walters earlier today, just in the past hour, across the nation. And we made the comment that if you remember during the security conversations we had after 9/11 and the renewed conversation we had during the Patriot Act renewal at the time that I was in college, 2007, 2008, when the Patriot Act was expiring, we wanted to renew it. And what was the argument, even from conservatives at that time? If you have nothing to hide, then you have nothing to fear. The government's going to do their metadata collection. The government's going to collect all of this information on you. The government's going to violate your privacy because we need to stop terrorism for the threat of security. National security is a main issue. We're going to collect all this information. By the way, they still do, and even more so than what they did back in 2007, 2008. And if you have nothing to hide, then you have nothing to fear. And we went along with it. I have nothing to hide. I guess you can collect my data. In fact, my generation openly said at that time during that conversation that we were willing for the government to collect all of our emails for a free pizza. We're totally okay with getting rid of all of our privacy for a free pizza. Why do I bring that up now? Because these pardons were so much deeper today. It is the panic of the deep state. It is the panic of what's going on in Washington, D.C., where people are actually going in that have experience in what they're about to lead with these departments. They're not going to sit idly by and let just D.C. go about their business, but they're going to do something that's never been done before, which is hit a reset button, which is make it more efficient, which is to streamline this process and to weed out people that are there just to have a cushy government job. And now the people that have been doing it for a long time, they're getting a little panicky. The denial starting to fade and the panic setting in, which is why we see the self-preservation, because they not only just got a pardon today, they also have seen all of the documents of the J6 committee investigations completely shredded, completely erased. We have no access to them whatsoever now, even after the Trump team requested that they do not do that days after the election. It's gone. The desperation setting in because real change, I hope and I pray, is really starting to happen in Washington, D.C. And that's kind of exciting to me.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. When reason meets radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Today I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border. All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy.
So Donald Trump speaking during the inauguration today, laying down the plan. So the work begins tonight. Apparently, he's got more than 200 executive orders to sign. And tomorrow, on Tuesday, apparently are the first rounds of deportations that are set to happen. He said by the end of tonight as well that we will have the Remain in Mexico policy intact. That includes some of those executive orders he will be signing tonight. I have the list, or at least a large portion of the list of the executive orders he's going to sign. We'll read through some of those in the next segment. But it's already begun. Like, we're hitting the ground running now, which is really exciting. So this whole change that we're seeing, this whole fundamental change in the nation, hitting this reset button, we're not wasting any time. And I think that's why so many people were so frustrated with Washington, D.C. That's why, I mean, we had all these departments, we had all these agencies. Were they really doing anything? More than likely not. We didn't see a whole lot. In fact, the inefficiency of these agencies from people that didn't know what they were doing, didn't have any experience in the departments that they were running, like Pete Buttigieg. I know I pick on him quite a bit, but this is a perfect example. I mean, there's so many of them from so many decades of presidents that would appoint people. They were done for political purposes. They weren't there because they had experience in the agency. They were they were ones that maybe ran for office, that helped out with the administration, helped out with the campaign, and they're like, oh, you're a good, valuable asset that will do what I tell you to, so I'm going to put you as the head of this department or that agency. Pete Buttigieg was a mayor of a small town in Illinois and ran the entire federal Department of Transportation. We are 2 years after the infrastructure bill was passed that was supposed to redo roads, that was supposed to do bridges, that was supposed to get like 5G to rural communities and farmers. 2 years, we still don't have any of that done. Most states still don't have that money. I live in Kansas, one of the more rural states in the nation, and we still don't have 5G access to most rural communities and farmers around the areas. They're working on it. They've been talking about it again for like the last 6 months. So much money's coming to the state of Kansas. Cool. The money's here. When are we going to start seeing it actually come to fruition? That's what inefficiency in government does, and that's what we're starting to change, which is really exciting. By the way, I got a message during the break from one of our listeners, listener Elizabeth, asking those who shredded and deleted the evidence from the January 6th committee, will they face any justice? I sure hope so. There was a long list of people that were pardoned by the Biden administration, but there's also a long list of people that have not been pardoned by the Biden administration, including Merrick Garland, including Jack Smith, including Chris Wray, including Matthew Graves. There are a lot of people that have not been pardoned by the Biden administration. So there are different angles and ways that we can go after them. At the same time, this is a really good point that was brought up earlier today as well, was that Joe Biden openly made a comment. What was it? A couple days ago, last week, I believe, that he said that he wasn't even aware of one of the executive orders that he had signed that they kind of threw in his face. And maybe it was a pardon for somebody. Maybe it was an executive order that he did of like student loan forgiveness. Who knows what it was? He doesn't know what any of them are, but he openly admitted it in public that he wasn't aware of one of the executive orders or pardons that he had signed, which begs the question if he's mentally incapacitated to the point where even his attorneys say that he cannot go and be a witness on the stand because of issues with his family or others. He doesn't remember details. He doesn't remember dates. He doesn't remember these issues. If that's the case, can we make these executive orders null and void because he's not mentally in the state of mind to properly sign off on them? That's a legal battle we can challenge. And if that's the case, get ready for a whole round of investigations on all these people that think that they're going into a Trump administration protected. Lots more coming up.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. Truth, reason, and common sense. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
A society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Oh, man. Oh, could you imagine how badly the other side of the aisle was losing their minds on that statement? So, well done. Oh, wait. Do we get to do it again? Hey, DEI and wokeness in the nation. We have to give you the proper farewell. I think we should just do that the entire program and just say farewell to every single person out of the department and the federal government from the Biden administration. I'm totally okay with that because we're bringing back some normalcy, common sense, and we're going to make America strong the way that it was. We're going to go from the hard times to the hard men and women rising to bring the good times back again to this nation. Welcome back into the program. It is The Voice of Reason. No guest today. There's too much going on. We have to keep this rolling, which is really exciting to me because I thought that the speech was absolutely brilliant. I love the way Donald Trump kept his composure there, but yet at the same time, he dug into the other side big time. He went after them big time, which was hilarious. All the failures that the previous administration had done, he was all over it, right to their face. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris looking down. They didn't applaud a whole lot. They didn't stand up at all. They just kind of sat there and did the thing. They were shamed to the nth degree. Not just them, but the Clintons, the Obamas, even the Bushes, decades of these elite establishment, big government types from both sides of the aisle that were there that just kind of go along and allowed government to get to the point that it is right now. Donald Trump literally just stuck it right to all of them in their face, and it was hilarious to listen to.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world. And America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair.
Oh, my.
We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly.
The failures of the Biden administration, the failures of the Obama administration, the failures of the Bush administration and beyond. I mean, these failures were pretty evident that we've seen over the past few years because we got to a point that Republicans and conservatives, especially the ones that, encouraging the Patriot Act, this collection of data, this growth of government, the Department of Homeland Security, the expansion of these departments, we never thought that they would get to the point that they are. And look at where we're at now today, collecting our data on a regular basis. I was in a conversation really just yesterday, I believe, with someone on social media about the concerns because they're like, you support TikTok because now that TikTok's back in action, which we'll get to in just a moment, that he said, I can't believe you support this communist app from China collecting our data. And I laughed and like I've said so many times on this program, why are we doing this false rage of worrying about China collecting our data when our government does it to us all the time? They're not collecting Facebook data. Really? Okay. Yeah. That's why we were labeled as domestic terrorists, because we would make certain comments on social media that would flag not only Meta and other sites at that time, Twitter as well, but then the government would come in and investigate us as well, be getting a little knock on the door from, certain agencies of the federal government concerned about the content that you're putting on social media. They have that information along with your GPS on your phone, the GPS on your new smart vehicle, and your fill in the blank, your YouTube account, your Gmail account. They have everything. And that's got to stop. But that leads us to our big issue of the day.
What's trending today?
That freedom of speech. One thing that I think that so many have been frustrated about under the Biden administration especially. Oh, we got to do it again. Ready? Karine Jean-Pierre. And I know it's a little bit late, but the Circle Back Psaki, Jen Psaki before, the two communications directors under the Biden administration, you are officially gone. You gave us absolutely nothing in the Biden administration. You never answered a question, and now we could actually get a little bit more transparency out of the federal government. So Jen Psaki, Karine Jean-Pierre, let's give you the proper farewell as well. And maybe we can finally start getting some answers of what's going on in D.C., which, speaking of, it is going to be, I'm going to have to do work overtime in addressing my email because being part of the media, even though I'm not like a journalist or anything, I am part of the media. I got signed up, and I don't even know how. They just kind of included me on here. The email blast list for the Office of Communications of the White House and for the Trump team already since, let's see, 3:45. Shortly after Donald Trump officially signed his first round of executive orders, after the inaugural speech, after the oath of office, after he went down and gave his second speech to a group of people down there, and then he went up there and signed some executive orders, and went to the lunch. That now he signed one of the executive orders that he signed was that he officially takes charge of the executive branch of the federal government. And since then, I have gotten 7 emails in the past 3 hours of the Office of Communications of the White House, meaning everything that they've done, which these include the official nominations of everyone that has, some of them that have already gone through some of their committee hearings in the Senate, some of them that have not yet but are going to, that there's the order from the White House in Washington to the Senate of the United States, I nominate, and he has an entire list of people on there. Then another email, we nominate to the sub-cabinet appointments, and then this entire list of individuals. There are email after email after email I'm already getting from the Office of Communications from the White House because we're already starting to see more transparency. This is more information I've gotten from the executive branch and the federal government than I have in 4 years under the Biden administration from Jen Psaki and Karine Jean-Pierre holding an hour-long press conference every day and giving us absolutely nothing. Oh, we'll circle back to that and let you know. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. That's not what we're here to talk about. I can't believe you asked that stupid question. That's what we got for 4 years. Donald Trump's coming in promising that on day one, he's going to release so many documents from the JFK assassinations. He's going to release more on disclosure from UFOs and UAPs. He's going to give us disclosure on what happened with the drones in New Jersey. And it's already starting where he's more transparent, giving us information of what his team is doing to where you can agree or disagree with it, but we can actually have the content. We can actually have that information representing the people of the United States and having access to exactly what they're doing at all times. And to me, that is a sigh of relief because I truly believe that one of the reasons we have been so disgusted with the federal government, so disgusted with the concept of this overbearing structure of government is because we don't get information out. We don't know what they're doing. We don't trust them. We don't believe a word that they're saying, and they're not completely transparent and open with us. And as much as I love my Catholic friends out there as well, I'm not Catholic, I'm Christian, but I'm not Catholic, that one of the reasons I have a major beef with the Catholic Church is the fact that they hold all of this information in their library underneath the Vatican that they don't let anybody see. I don't want that anymore. I want full transparency. Completely open to humanity for all to see exactly what's going on with religious organizations, with the government institutions. We're ready for it, which is why the battle for social media, to me at least, was extremely important. And Donald Trump said he's bringing that back.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law.
What a concept. We can actually bring back freedom of speech. We can allow ourselves to have the content out there. The internet should be the way it was intended when the internet was first created by Al Gore, remember? Remember that? Al Gore, the one that created the internet back in the 1990s. Remember Al Gore did that? Yeah. But the way that the internet was intended to be back then, it is supposed to be the wild, wild west. It is supposed to be anybody can post anything and express their views on absolutely anything whatsoever with zero censorship. That's the way it's supposed to be. The government completely open. Now, if obviously it's putting people in harm's way because of a military operation, I don't want to know about that. There's certain logistical operations that you're planning to end an enemy, I don't want to know about that. Outside of that, nothing should be kept secret. Nothing should be kept classified. I want to know all of it. And that's the way that we truly get our trust back. And we've gotten so little that we've come accustomed to who really cares? And they've tried to condition us that way, which leads us to the TikTok conversation. If you noticed over the weekend, TikTok is back after being down for just a short couple of hours. And TikTok's response when they came back up was, hey, we're back in the U.S. thanks to President Donald Trump. Where apparently one of the executive orders he's signing this evening is a 90-day extension of that legal battle with the potential partnership with an American company to have half of the ownership of TikTok. So that way there's some shared interest, everybody making money, and I think it's a good thing. Why I think it's a good thing, we'll discuss when we come back around the corner. One more segment here for The Voice of Reason on an Inauguration Monday. Hang tight.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. America's safe space for common sense. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people.
Right in front of their face. Right in their face, baby.
To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true.
Yeah, so happy Martin Luther King Day, by the way, as well as it was kind of a big dual day for Martin Luther King Day and for Donald Trump's inauguration. A great way to show that unity and show that we're all coming together. More people. It's cool and popular to be a Donald Trump supporter now, which I think is really exciting, and I think that is good news. So happy Martin Luther King Day. And let's remember, let's actually bring back those values of judging someone based on not their skin color, but based on their character and the content of their character. That's what it's all about. The identity politics, the DEI, the wokeness, the identity politics that have been infesting society for so long. Got to do it again. Can we do it one more time? I got to do it. Well, see you later, buddy. Bye, 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 bye. On that front, let's get into what's trending.
What's trending today?
So the battle with social media, as you know, I don't know if you paid attention. Do you have a TikTok account on? I was up late Saturday night. It was, 12:30 or so when I started going to bed, and I was getting ready. I turned on TikTok, and it said, oh, sorry, but we cannot get a live refresh page for you. And I'm like, oh, it finally happened. Oh, man. Then, middle of the day, 12 hours later, 8 hours later, it popped back up, and this is the message that I received. If you don't have TikTok, then you didn't see this, obviously. So this is what it said when I tried to open up TikTok again. It said, welcome back. Thanks for your patience and support. As a result of President Trump's efforts, they specifically called him out, TikTok is back in the U.S. You can continue to create, share, and discover all the things that you love on TikTok. That was the message right out of the gate when you actually opened up TikTok again for the first time. Now, the concern is, well, they're still Chinese-owned. I don't know. Donald Trump executive order, apparently that he's signing today, is going to do a 90-day extension for the social media site. And that means that apparently they're working on doing like a halvesy type of ownership for the U.S. and for China or for ByteDance or for whoever. So that way they can have dual ownership. Everybody can make money. Here's the kicker, though. And this is why I bring this up, because I think it's really important for us. If we're going to use the logic of the Biden administration, Donald Trump is already far superseding what Joe Biden did the first administration. Here's what I mean. If you remember, post-COVID-19, the Biden administration claimed that they created 15 million jobs in this nation. Remember that? How did they do it? After COVID-19, when we lifted all the restrictions and people were allowed to go back to work after COVID, they said that those were all new jobs that were created. Now, if you look at the actual charts of job growth, we saw the major dip down and then the major climb back up to where it was with the ongoing steady increase of job growth, because it's just the natural growth. It wasn't anything more exponential than that. It was just the steady climb. If we would have gotten rid of the COVID thing and that whole drop from the jobs from people staying at home, it would have been just this steady parallel climb of this graph showing the job growth that's just normal. There would have been nothing new or exciting about it. But they claimed that there were 15 million jobs. So I'm here to tell you that out of the 15 million jobs that the Joe Biden administration supposedly created, Donald Trump, by that logic, in the day before he's even president of the United States, but obviously got credit for it because TikTok gave him credit for it as well, but by that logic, the 7 million small businesses that are on TikTok, the 2 million small businesses that are solely only on TikTok and nowhere else, that are based here in the United States, Donald Trump created those. Not jobs, businesses. Donald Trump, before he even became president of the United States, created 7 million small businesses the day before he even took office. He wasn't even in office yet with the swearing in of the oath, and he created 7 million small businesses, boosting the economy across the nation and growing the private sector, with small businesses being allowed to sell on another platform here in the United States. You can credit Donald Trump for that. Joe Biden can't take that. He's already more than halfway to reaching Joe Biden's numbers, and he didn't even take office before that. Until then, we'll see you back on the radio tomorrow. Bye.